Hello, this is day 4 of the quadratic formula and imaginary numbers unit for Mr. Kenzie's integrated algebra class. Remember, your homework will be to finish any of the questions we do not complete together. Take a look. This is going to be your warm-up questions, your review questions that you'll be working on your own. We're going to continue our discussion with imaginary numbers for today. Now remember, imaginary number means you have a negative underneath the radical with an even index. The index is the number that would be inside the check. So we're going to do a few of these together like we did yesterday. So for this one, can't plug that into our calculator because you'll get an error for a non-real solution. So I'm going to rewrite this as square root -1 times the square root of 225. We know the square root of -1 by definition is I. And 225, you can plug that in. The square root of 225 in your calculator is 15. So your correct answer for this one would be 15I. We're going to skip down here to number 4. So for number 4, we have -7, radical -9. Can't plug this in my calculator because I will get an error. So I'm going to rewrite this as the square root of, -7 times the square root of -1 times 9. And -1 comes outside the radical as an I. 9 is a perfect square, so that comes outside as 3I. Bring down this -7. Now this -7 is multiplied times the radical. That's why we multiply these two. You have -7 times 3I, which would give me -21I. I'm going to continue. We're going to look at number 5 this time. So we know sum. Sum means to add. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3I plus 2 radical -25. I'm going to bring down 3I because that's as simplified as it can get for that first part. I'm going to rewrite this as square root of -1 times the square root of 25. Square root of -1 comes outside as an I. 25 is a perfect square. That comes outside as 5. So you have 3I plus 2. Remember, we are multiplying this term that comes outside. So 3I plus 2 times 5I. You have 3I plus 10I. These are like terms. 3I plus 10I will give me 13I. So that is my answer. All right, now continuing. Number 8 is the next one that we're going to do. It's very similar to number 6, except just 2 parts. So I'm going to start to simplify, working with this first. So I have 10 minus 4. Now for this one, I'm going to rewrite, plug that in my calculator, we'll get an error. -1 times 361. The square root of -1 comes outside as an I. Square root of 361 comes out as a 19. I'm going to bring down the 10 minus 4 times 19i. We multiply these two. -4 times 19i would give me -76i. I'm going to start to simplify this now. Bring down -14. If I plug that in my calculator, I'll get an error. So I'm going to rewrite this as the square root of -1 times 36. The square root of -1 comes outside as an I. Square root of 36 is 6. So I'm going to rewrite this and bring this down. 5 times 6i will give me 36i. Give me 1 second. So we have minus 14 plus 30i. 5 times 6i is 30i. Combine our like terms. 10 minus 14 should give me negative 4. Negative 76i plus 30i would give me negative 46i. Can't combine those as they're not like terms. You will now finish the rest of the problems, the warm-up, and these 4 questions as your homework. We are going to do one more together, and that's going to be another quadratic formula with an answer that includes an I. We're in standard form, so I'm just going to state my A, B, and C. So A is 1, the number in front of x squared. B is 3. C is 5. So I plug this in. I'm going to put sets of parentheses where each number will go to replace the letter. I'm going to plug in. I'll get negative 3 plus or minus. I'll simplify this. You can use your calculator, do it by hand. 3 squared is 9. Negative 4 times 1 times 5 is negative 20. 9 minus 20 should give me a negative 11. Now for this one, this is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to rewrite it just as we had before. Negative 1 times 11. Now square root of negative 1 will come outside as an I. Eleven's not a perfect square, so that stays inside. I'm going to rewrite this as x is equal to negative 3 over 2 plus or minus I radical 11 over 2. You can leave your answer like that. You can also break into 2 parts. So you have x is equal to negative 3 over 2 plus I radical 11 over 2. X equal to negative 3 over 2 minus I radical 11 over 2. And that's it. Thank you.